Alright, I was trying to think of something I could do for the Facebook page that might be a little bit useful to some of you guys, and I thought, what about showing you some of the ways I actually use side imaging while I'm fishing. For example, this little flat here is about 10-11 feet, and let's say I'm not one to just go out and just fan cast. I like to target fish, as most of us do. So here's a couple of things that I do. Now, the Onyx and the Core Series units are a little bit different in the way they operate, but you can do the same thing on both of them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to idle through here, and I have it set on amber because it's a little bit easier to see. And when I see something, for example, and I hope you guys can see this okay, you can see that we're coming up on a little hard spot. Now, I don't see a lot of fish. Let me cut down the sensitivity. Well, sensitivity is on 8, so we're good. But what I do see here is I see several targets. Stumps, mainly stumps, a couple of logs. You got a log right down here, a couple of logs. So I might want to come back and fish those in a little bit. So let's just continue to idle through here. See what else there is that we might be interested in. Okay, there's a little wad of fish, or bait fish at least, hanging over the top of that brush pile. And there's another brush pile, as you can see right there. Okay, there's a couple of brush piles. Alright, so here we go. Let's say we've idled through here and we want to go back through that area. Now, this could be a spawning flat. You could be looking for beds. This could be maybe a standing timber area and you're looking for something a little bit different, like maybe some trees. They're laying down on the bottom instead of things that other people can see. But regardless, this is what I would do. And I'm going to try this. I hope this video comes out okay. Alright, the first thing you do is you go over here to your, I totally forgot what they call this. You go over here to your toggle and you stop the screen just by touching it. Okay, so you can see I've stopped the screen. So, let's see. Let's just pull over to the side here, like cut the boat off. Alright, now, I'm going to sort of follow the crosshairs, so I'm going to zoom in just a touch, so maybe it'll be a little easier to see. But here's what I would do. I would go back to some of the targets that I was interested in, maybe like this one right here, and I would put the crosshair on it and I would hit mark, and of course it's going to pop up and ask me what I want to mark, and I'd hit waypoint. Alright, then before I move, let's say, okay, here's this one down here that has that group of bait fish on it. Definitely want to mark it. So once again, I hit mark. It's going to ask me if I want to mark waypoint. Alright, so those two are targets, and obviously here's a stump right over here we could fish. So I would hit mark. Once again, it's going to ask me. Okay, and I could scroll backwards quite a ways. I'm not 100% sure how far. Here's a nice little hard spot on the bottom. And, there's a couple of targets on here. Looks like a pretty nice stump. Zoom in on that. Okay, pretty nice stump by looking at the shadow there. So let's mark a waypoint on it. Okay, and let's exit out of the zoom box. Okay, so there we go. Now, if we switch to a map screen, which I'm going to do, let's see, let's touch this one, like so, and then I'm going to touch my map screen, make it full. Okay, now you can see the, by the way, that recording symbol is the 999. That's where I started recording, the 999. But you can see where I marked all those targets. Now, how you handle this from this point on totally depends on what setup you have. I've got a friend of mine, he's a very, very good fisherman. He always puts out markers. That's just his thing. Personally, I have the heading sensor antenna. So what I would do is I would take my trolling motor and work my way back through those targets. And since the heading sensor tells me which direction the boat's pointed, here, let's crank it up. Let's just pretend this is my trolling motor. We've got storms coming in, but all right. Okay, if you've never seen the heading sensor line, there's the heading sensor. Okay, so if I was on my trolling motor, I would be working my way back to the targets, and the screen I would use up front would be, let's see if I even have it on here. I don't have, but I can go find it quick enough. Okay, this is the screen I use up front. All right, let's go over here. Chart scale. Whoop, I don't want info. I want chart scale. 1/8. Okay. All right, this is the screen I use up front. Okay, I'm on the 100-foot scale. Now, here's what I would do. I would zoom out a little bit, and I would put myself right on top of those targets. Okay, and you know, I use this screen a lot. Okay, and what you can see over here, let's just make that full. All right, what you can see, whoop, wrong way. If you were fishing that, you could take your boat and you could point it right at those targets. That's one reason I like the heading sensor. All right, so if I was coming up on that target fishing, I would know those targets were dead ahead of me right there, and I could start casting at them. Okay, it's just, I mean, I do this all the time, crappie, bass. You know, if I'm fishing targets, which I normally am, this is something I always use. Hope that helped you. Sometime this week, I'm going to show you how you can do it on the 999. So those of you that have core units, you can't use the backtrack, you can't scroll back, but what you can do, well, I'm going to save that for later. Alright guys, hope this video helps you. Got a few storms coming in. I'm out of here. Later.